You're listening to Cash and Sass. I'm Lisa Marie, your go-to gal for all things money. As the Sassy Wealth Queen and the brains behind the Sassy Wealth Coach, I'm here to take you on a thrilling ride from the financial chaos to sassy and sexy money.
Welcome back, my sassy friend, to another episode of Cash and Sass podcast. My name is Lisa Marie. I am the Sassy Wealth Queen, the brains behind this podcast, and of course, the Sassy Wealth Coach. Today with me is Anika Jackson. She is a senior communications and marketing professional with over 25 years of experience working with diverse brands and clients to build local and global interests and create meaningful, synergistic relationships between brands and consumers. Anika produces and hosts the Your Brand Amplified podcast, which is, y'all, this is my dream, okay? She is at the 0.5% podcast. Okay, total dream. Had to insert that there. In addition, she is a graduate level professor at USC Annenberg and a co-producer and co-host of the USC Mediscape Speaker Series and podcast. Separately, she's a VP of PR at Full Capacity Marketing and president of the ISF Women's Expo and a board member for the International Soccer Festival. She's also a best-selling Amazon author in the women's anthology Business on Purpose. She is a member of the Intuit Small Business Council, serves on the advisory board of UC Santa Barbara's Women in Leadership Executive Program, and contributes her knowledge and thought leadership to the benefit of multiple local, national, and global nonprofits. Welcome to my podcast. I am so excited to have you here today. And of course, y'all all know what we are going to do. It's called Cash and Sass for a reason. We're going to dive in straight into candid conversations around and anything and everything to do with money. And we were talking about it before we went live, that what I really wanted to talk about was like the being willing to restart and facing those money blocks and those money fears. Because when we have to be willing to restart, sometimes in our life or our business, there's a lot of fear, and a lot of times it's around that money. Can you share just a little bit about your story?
Oh boy, where do I start? There is a lot to unpack. I think part of it is generational. So if there are stories in my family going back generations way before I was born about people having wealth and giving it away, and during the Depression even, right? And so I think some of that lives within us, and it's definitely something that has affected me. Being good at making money, but then being really good at not having any because I'm giving it away, whether it's in a business or whether it's to nonprofits. One of the biggest things was, gosh, a long, long time ago when the movie Shopaholic came out, if you remember that movie. You might be a little too young for that. But at that point,
I promise I'm not.
there was an article in the LA Times about real life shopaholics. And I was in that article, not as somebody who was hoarding, but as somebody who just ramped up a credit card bill. And luckily my then fiance just paid it off because it was on his credit card. But I didn't mean to. It just happened, right? And I had a good job, so there's no reason for it. Jump up to being married, still like having money to manage my own, taking a step back from the world of work, getting divorced, having to figure out how to do all of that again, and being one of those people who was a smug married, who never thought I'd get divorced, never thought I'd have to deal with this, knowing in the back of my head that I needed to be smarter than that, right? But not being smarter than that. So rebuilding, gosh, it's been 8 years now that I've been rebuilding since that point, because I was a second wife, signed a bad prenup, had to figure out, what does work look like? Am I working for somebody else? Am I starting another business? Then what do you do when you get into the business? How do you make sure you're structuring it properly so that you have money in the business? You're not just giving it all away to employees, to taxes, to everything else. And I'm an eternal optimist. I also have ADHD. So I'm always thinking of new ideas and putting them out there. So it ended up with, in 2019, I moved from Houston back to Los Angeles, where I'd lived before. And I ended up accidentally starting a PR firm. But before that, I had to go really humble, and I moved back. I had a business in Houston, had to leave it. My ex did not help me move back. So I sold a whole bunch of stuff, got back, thought I was going to be in a better position, ended up going on food stamps. and having to go, you know what? It's okay. This is a resource. And it's really, really hard to do that.
Yes.
When you've been the person who used to have lots of money to donate to charities and be the person who was always the giving person, it's really hard to say it's okay for me to accept this help. And I did. And then I eventually, after being back here for 6 months, got a contract job with a PR firm. Then I started getting more business. Then the pandemic hit. I accidentally started a PR firm of my own and built it up really quickly. I wasn't thinking strategically. I wasn't taking the time to think, does it make sense to hire people in different states? And do I really need to hire them as employees? Can they just be contractors? Because then there's all this paperwork that comes with it. And if you don't know how to do it and you hire the wrong person who you think is doing the job and they don't, then you have a couple clients who don't get the grants that they thought they were going to get, or they decide that they're just not going to pay you for the work that you have done and you've already paid your team for. You get stuck. And so since that time, I've been in this continuous state of, do I go take the job working for somebody else that pays 6 figures and get myself out of debt? Or do I just really lean into and believe in myself? And that's been a constant push-pull. I left a really good job at the end of December because I realized that I didn't match up quite with what the CEO was looking for. She wanted somebody working 78 hours a week to eventually take her role. I was also podcasting. I was also teaching graduate school in the evenings. My health was declining. I am a single mom. So I can't give somebody 70, 80 hours a week. My daughter is my all. She is my everything. She's the most important thing I will ever do. And I want to make sure she has my support and love at all times. So
Yeah, absolutely.
So I quit that job. I also started grad school knowing that I'm going to be in another downward phase for a little bit, but I can rebuild. And also I can, use that. Going to grad school will help me become a full-time professor. So now I have grad school. I'm teaching a little bit. I get some revenue from my podcast, but takes time to get paid out for that. So I'm back in a rebuilding stage again, which probably when we initially started talking about me coming on the podcast, I was probably a little bit higher up. But I think the point is what you said for my bio sounds like really impressive, probably. Like when I hear it, I'm like, wow, I have done a lot. But it doesn't matter what it sounds like. The reality is I'm still spinning my wheels. I'm still figuring out how to say no, how to limit the other opportunities, because I have still been like, yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do this. Okay. How do I take back some of that energy and put it into my own, keeping my money, right? And that has been one of my biggest blocks is whenever I have money, something happens to my dogs get sick. And that's a few $1,000s. Or a nonprofit that I work with doesn't have any funding. They need to feed the kids. Something happens. And so that's one of the biggest reasons. I love everything that you stand for. I love what you do. And I was really excited to come on and talk about this because this is
I love that. Thank you. Well, it is. And I'm going to also state for the listeners, not only is it hard to go and ask or to receive the help with food stamps, it's also hard to ask, even if you've never had a lot of money, which anybody goes on my website and reads it, they'll know. You can't tell me anything that surprises me. Okay. It's not going to happen. I've done it, seen it, or been through it all, I think. And I had to get on food stamps as well. Again, it's no secret. A lot of people are like, why do you tell people that? Because I think money needs to be talked about.
Yes.
I think it needs to stop being a taboo subject. It needs to be in the forefront. And honest to God, we need to have some honest communication about it so people know that it's okay, that shit happens. I mean, excuse my French, life happens, however you want to look at it, it happens. And you showing how you used to be able to give all these donations and you saying all of this, my listeners are now seeing, oh, it can happen to her who's done all of these things. And it just shows that knowing what the hell, I'm going to say it, knowing what the hell is going on with your money is so damn important. And along with that, being able to say no. Because I think what it is with you, you're wanting to do all the things. You're like, oh, I've got this money, so I want to do all the things. And what's happening is because it's not being strategic and it's always going out, then all of a sudden you're doing all the things. And the next thing you know, you need it for something. And you're like, oh shit, there is no money.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, wait, whoa, oh crap. I said yes to everything instead of saying no. And so it's really important to understand that's, being strategic with your money. I don't mean hoard it forever. I don't mean don't spend it. And at the same time, we also don't want you to spend so fast or invest so fast or give it away so fast that you don't have anything left over when you're going to need it or for the things that you want later.
Exactly.
Right? And I think that's honest to goodness, I think that's a really, really important thing. And, eh, I have some clients who are ADHD. So I laughed when you said that I'm always wanting to create things. And some of my clients, I love them. They're like, okay, I've thought about this. And then they'll go into hyper focus mode, over worrying, like worrying or stressing, like a stress and pull over, okay, should I be doing this? I don't like what I'm doing. Should I be doing this? Which I'm loving, yet the money's not there yet. And so it's keeping them balanced so that our nervous system doesn't put us in what I call overwhelm. Because when we start thinking about those things, even though our nervous system is quote unquote trying to protect us, what it's actually doing is ends up stopping us from growing, right? And sometimes it's great to grow. And at the same time, we have to be strategic, right? And not always act emotionally or without thinking when it comes to doing the things. I mean, I care about a lot of things with donations. Trees being regrown, being replanted, women and children no longer being trafficking, um, uh, homeless just going away. There's several things. The two that I'm very, very passionate about is the trees being replanted because we use a lot of trees, y'all. And that's just a fact. And that came to that, honest to goodness, y'all, that did not come to me. I knew we did, and then it was brought in the forefront of like toilet paper is and tissues are made from the trees. So how often I don't know how often y'all go through toilet paper, but I can tell you, I swear in my house, it's like, and I was like, oh crap. And so it just brought it in the forefront. And so again, those are passionate. Now, I'm also passionate about the Christian radio show that does the things that they do. And I'm passionate about this and I'm passionate about that. My point, I don't donate to all of them.
Yeah.
I have two. And what I do is then every year I'll look and see if I want to add one, if I'm able to add one based off of the revenue that I've had, or can I still stick to my two again based off the revenue my business did, or am I going to need to decrease the amount? Most of the time I'm able to keep it, and sometimes I can add one and sometimes I can't. The point is knowing and being okay with it because you're doing something. You are giving back. If we give back to everything, there's not going to be anything for us or our kids or, our life.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the reason why I created the 5 wealth codes. I swear I'm going to call them something else, the pillars or something. But it's the spiritual, energetic, mental, physical, and financial. And the key is, and why I say create, retain, and expand wealth. And the reason is because we want to create it. Yes. We need to retain some for us and our family and our kids. And then we can expand it. And again, that can be generational. That can be also giving back. Doing it strategically, then money flows because money's energy. So it's going to flow. However, if you're doing it all one way, and you're not paying attention to how it's going, you could end up in, like you're saying, what happened with you. And I'm like you, I am not working 70 hours a week. Not anymore. I did the 50 hours a week in corporate, and I swear I was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. And now Yeah, no. I've got 2 girls, and they are my life.
Yeah.
And, they get everything, and, they're even the times they don't want anything to do with me. Mine are 13 and 21, so there's times they just don't want anything to do with me. But even then, they're still my everything, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important. What are some of the things that you have done when you had these money blocks, or money fears come up when you're looking at it and being honest with yourself? Have you looked at some things and said, okay, Anika, this is what I can do. This isn't, calming that nervous system. Because I think it's important for everyone to realize that there's ways that you can kind of come back center and be able to calm the nervous system and say, like, not, well, yeah, face it. Be able to, I don't want to say deal, but be facing and be able to say, okay, this is a block. We're gonna bypass it. We're gonna
Yeah.
process it. And we're gonna move through it.
Yeah. It's one thing that does not help is like when my boyfriend wants to talk to me about it, right? I cannot have that conversation. I need to talk to other women who are in the situation with me. I try to be open and honest with where I'm at. So I'm sometimes overly transparent with perhaps people who worked with me previously, if they were contractors. And I say, you know what? I don't have, I thought this money was coming in. It hasn't come in yet. This is what I was using to pay you. So let's stop work. I've been getting better about let me not add on more debt that I owe to other people to help me with things. Let me find other systems to do them or just put them on the side. I have let go of worrying about my credit score right now because I know this is just a time period in my life. I know some money that's coming in that has been owed to me. I know some things that I'm doing to create more money, but I'm going to be smarter. For instance, last year I had a 6-figure job. I was also teaching. It was great. One of my dogs got really sick. And so I started spending all that extra money that I had that was, I was using money to get out of debt, using money to do some fun things with my daughter, and then basically spending thousands of dollars on my dog. And I was like, that was not a smart decision to make. I love my animals, but I need to make sure I have food. And the reality is they are almost 12 years old now. So is giving her these extra medications and this extra XYZ going to really help me? It's just going to prolong or help her. It's going to prolong her life, but it's not going to necessarily be a great quality of life. So I've had to look at every part of my life, not just my business, but also my personal life, making sure, so being realistic with a nonprofit that I've supported for over a decade in Africa, where we have helped them build an orphanage and paid for school kids to go to school and helped, with, we had gotten a grant to rent farmland. Now were able to raise money so they could buy some farmland. We know it's going to take a couple of years for them to be able to pay for everything. But I say, look, I can't send any money towards the orphanage right now. I don't even have money in my bank account because I'm waiting for these checks to come in and I'm doing this work and I'm trying to build back up. But so I've realized that every time I say no, I have a sense of relief. And that's not something I'm used to doing, but having to be realistic and take a step back, I'm like, oh, now I'm freeing up that space to do what's right for me, to make sure that I'm paying. I write lists and Excel sheets of like, here's what I owe, here's how I'm going to pay it off and when. It's an ongoing process, as we were talking about before we jumped on. It's never finished. Even when I've had more money and built things back up, there's still always stuff that wants to. It's like that. It's temptation. I don't know if there's a better way to say it, but like every time you do something, and then God or the universe is like, but there's this other thing over here. Don't you want to do this? And if you get led astray or you pay more attention or money into that thing and you get off your path and your purpose, then it doesn't go well. But if I stay in alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing, that is when things flow. That is when people give me opportunities. That is when the checks come in that I've been expecting, right? So it's constant push pull because sometimes those shiny baubles look like they're supposed to be the right thing for you.
Yeah. I call I call them shiny object syndrome, and I don't
Yes.
believe they're coming from the universe. I just believe that they're popping up to test us.
Yes.
I believe that the universe wants you to be aligned with your values and your goals and your desires. And when we're aligned, and you said it perfectly, when we're aligned, that's when the money starts flowing in. It's us recognizing, oh, that's a shiny bubble, that's a shiny object, that's going to deter me. No. Instead of us saying yes, and then we're like, oh crap, I said yes, now I got to do this and this and this. And then we get overwhelmed, and then we're not able to concentrate on what we were concentrating on, and we get out of alignment, right? And so when we're able to uh, stay in that alignment, when we have a plan and we're able to stay in the alignment, and y'all, I'm not going to say this is easy. I'm not going to say it's always easy. Okay, look, I've been doing this for many, many years, and I still have to remind myself, no, that's a shiny object. No, you can't support that person. You can't support that thing right now. And that doesn't mean you can't in the future. And that's the cool thing about it. The key is not right now.
Yeah.
Right? And saying not right now and feeling that relief because now you're in alignment with yourself still, right? And you're all of a sudden oh, okay. That felt good. And you're like, I should have been doing this more often.
Yes.
Because we're like we feel bad for saying no.
Yes.
Say no. I get told no all the time. It's not a bad thing. I do. It's not a bad thing. And a lot of times it's just not right now. Right? Again, we all get told no, right? My coach was talking about it, and he said every no leads to a yes. And that sometimes the most powerful thing that we can do is say no. What he suggests, and this is what I love, is make it powerful. Meaning you're in a powerful yes or a powerful no, and you're not going to second guess yourself, and you felt into your heart and your gut, and that without a doubt that that's what it is. What a lot of us do is we say yes without thinking, and we don't make it a powerful yes. Or we say no, and then we start getting wishy-washy. And so again, when it's powerful, and I don't mean powerful by being mean or anything, I mean inside your heart and your gut, you know that right now is just not the right time, then that means not right now. No, not right now.
Yeah.
Because when you say no right now, and I'm gonna give a piece of advice too, Anika, no explanation needs to be needed. It's no, not right now, period. Unless you want to give it, then fine. But a lot of times, a lot of us feel like we need to explain ourselves. We have to explain ourselves. And I again, I'm going to say this. I still do it. Matter of fact, I caught myself this morning. I was about to explain myself on a reason that I was saying why I wasn't able to meet with someone. Okay. I am unavailable until here. End of period. No explanation is needed. Because honest to goodness, it's none of their business.
Yeah.
Now, if it's someone that you've had, a relationship with for a while, and they ask, hey, is everything okay? Or what's up? Or if you want to give a little detail, fine. But one of the things I was noticing with you is, when we're having this conversation, is you're like me, you feel like you need to give a little more explanation. And honestly, we don't have to, because then it's like we're disempowering ourselves from
Exactly.
saying no.
It's harder for us
and
as
it took me
women.
Yes, I was about to say, because as women, it is really hard. I don't know why, but it's really hard. And when we feel into that, we in no way, shape, or form should be disempowering ourselves. And that's the reason why, again, the Cash and Sass podcast exists. That's the reason why I'm adamant about women being able to stand on their own 2 feet, whether they need to or not, because we should be empowered. There's a lot more of us they're entrepreneurs and now own businesses than ever before. And we should be empowered with our money so that we can be empowered with the decisions we're making and the impact we're going to make.
100%.
And I think that that's just a really big, big thing. Um, if there was a listener anywhere that was going, okay, I found myself all of a sudden at rock bottom and I don't know how to face that block or that fear and like, can I restart? What's the one piece of advice you would give being there? Having been there before, what's the one piece of advice you would give?
You can always restart. You can always restart. What's been really great for me lately is that, you can get stressed about all the chaos going on. Oh, you have this bill you can't pay. You have this bill. But number one, be open and honest. If you have a credit card and you can't make the payment right now, talk to them. Don't just let it be. Don't just let it slide, because they will work with you. If you have anything that's going on in your life, the more honest you can be, and you don't have to overshare. But the more you can say, this is not going to fit in my budget right now, or I can't do this, or I need to focus on XYZ, and still see, I'm still oversharing. I'm still not just saying no. But there's always something that's going to appear that's going to help you. Whether that, I didn't realize I needed to go on food stamps until I went to a Walmart grocery store after I dropped my daughter off at school. And I couldn't, my card was declined because a bill had gone through that I was expecting to come through the next day after I got paid. The manager felt called to buy me some groceries that day. And that is what made me go, okay, I need to take a hard look at myself. I need to accept help, and I need to realize that it's okay to accept help. So accept help, be willing to be really brutally honest with yourself, be brutally honest with those around you, and take care of yourself first. We're so bad about that as women. But if you don't put yourself first, nobody else is going to. Nobody else is going to. They're going to take from you as many times in as many ways as they can. So put yourself first and feel that power that Lisa Marie is talking about. Once you feel that, you start building back up. And whether it happens slowly, it's going to happen slowly, and you're going to stumble and fall, but it is going to be a beautiful journey. And you're going to look back. And now I'm turning 50 this year. And I look at myself and go, I finally know what I want to do when I grow up. And I feel more in my power than I ever have felt, because I've realized over the past 8 years how to start saying no, how to put myself, and really in the past 2 years, how to put myself first, how to be realistic with
I've done the
money.
same. And by the way, I'm 51. So,
Love it.
um, and it's been the last 2 or 3 years that I've and you're right. Here's the thing: when we put ourselves first, everybody else is going to be taken care of better from us because we're overflowing and we can give them the extra.
Yeah.
When we put everyone else first, we start running empty and there's nothing else to give. And then our health starts declining, our mental health, our physical health, our spiritual health. Hello, 5 wealth codes. All of it just gets affected. And so the piece of advice I have is from that is you can restart. Know that it might not be easy, and it can be done. I've done it several times. It can be done. It's a lot easier when you have someone who can support you through it.
Yeah.
And it can be done. And the biggest thing I say is you have to turn inwards. And Anika's right. You've got to be brutally honest with yourself. And I'm going to take a step further. I don't care if you're honest with anyone else. You can lie to everybody else if you want to. The one person you have to be brutally honest with is yourself. Because if you're not honest with yourself on where the situation is, then you won't be able to restart. And being honest with yourself is getting down, nit and gritty with those numbers. And that means looking at statements and looking at, okay, how much revenue is actually coming in, or personal, how much money is coming in, how much money is going out. Is there stuff that's going out that I can temporarily stop, or I can cut back on? Or am I frivolously spending and that just needs to stop? Is there a way I can have a plan and I can put a plan in place? Is there someone that I can work with that can help me put a plan in place? Which, by the way, that's what I do. So there's just things that can be done, and I've seen it. I've seen people it turns around, and especially when you're aligned with your goals and your values and your desires. When you get out of alignment, then it's going to be hard to restart. So you've got to be really honest about what that looks like as well. But you can build it back up. I've rebuilt my credit 3 times, y'all. 3, 4, something like that. And I'm like you right now. I've stopped looking because earlier this year, I've been very honest about it. My business did a shift, and because of inflation, recession, yada yada. The first time in the entire time I've had my business has taken on some debt. Again, life happens, and businesses take on debt all the time.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. We leverage it. We leverage it to keep going. Then when money comes in, we're able to pay it, and then we soar. So I had to work through some of those emotions and realize, hey, wait, there's multimillionaires that they leverage debt all the blasted time. And yet our society makes it sound like it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
What's bad is when we're not strategic with it, and we're not responsible and disciplined about how we're doing it. And so I had to be honest with myself and say, okay, can I do this strategically? Yes. Can I do this responsibly? Yes. Is this going to affect my credit score? Absolutely. Am I okay with that? Yep. Gonna stop monitoring it temporarily. And I did. I canceled the subscription so I wouldn't go and be able to see it, because I would end up beating I know me. I'd end up beating myself up over it. And that's not helping anything, right? So you have to be, again, that brutal honest with yourself. Okay, am I okay with this? Yes. Do I have a plan in place? Yes. What do I need to make sure stop or not look at anymore in order that I can focus on what's in front of me, so I don't have something making that me going to make myself feel bad, right? I'm the one that's going to do it by looking at something. Okay, I know I'll do that. So let's cancel that subscription so it can't show me. That way there's nothing for me to look at. And I think that that's just really, really important. Anika, you have a free gift for my listeners. Will you please tell them about that?
Yes, I have. Well, I have a couple things. One is the book that you mentioned earlier. I'd love to send people the book via PDF or my chapter to really get more into the story. It's all inspiring stories of women. And then the other one is I always am happy to give a free consult. So I love to speak, especially to women who are entrepreneurs or trying to figure out their what next. I have really low cost, great tools that I use that can help you with. I've done PR, digital marketing, brand strategy, all of those different things. So I'm happy to talk to anybody, anytime. Let's just talk and see where you're at, what you need, and let me help you, give you some resources that you can use that aren't going to take a lot of time or money, but can hopefully help you get to the next stage.
Yeah. And getting to that next stage is really important, right? I truly appreciate you being on the show. And my sassy friends, I hope you got some gold nuggets out of this. That the one thing that you take away is, yes, you can rebuild. It's okay to ask for help and accept help. And of anything, be honest with yourself, because that's what's going to help you be able to be rebuild when you're taking care of yourself and you're honest with yourself. And until next time, my sassy friends, stay sassy. We'll see you later. Bye.
Thanks for joining us this week on Cash and Sass. Check us out on social media and on our website at www.transcendentwealthco.com, where you can download my free Money Story Start Guide. The website again is www.transcendentwealthco.com. And as always, subscribe to the show to catch every new episode and leave us a review so we can continue to bring you fresh content. And remember, yes, it is possible to have sassy and sexy money. See you next week.